descriptive approach and predictive approach. And these descriptive approaches have individual techniques associated, for example, association rule mining, and then we have a clustering analysis. They are largely called descriptive approach. Why descriptive approach? Can anybody answer me why they are grouped under descriptive approach, not in the predictive approach? Jane Paul, you have answered machine learning. Can you answer me why data mining technique of clustering and association rule mining is grouped in the descriptive techniques? Oh, can you not use the mic?
I'll have to unmute.
Not?
Sir, I'll have to unmute the person.
Okay. Okay.
Chen,
so
I'm unmuting you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Narayana Engineering College, madam. Narayana Engineering College, Nellore.
So those who are not speaking can please mute their mic so that other can speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. So who would like to answer me the question that why association rule mining and clustering have been grouped under descriptive approach?
Chen, would you like to speak?
Jane Paul? Or anybody else? Jane Paul has raised hands, but I think his mic is muted.
Yes, sir. I unmuted Chen.
Yeah, thank you so
Chen,
much, sir, for
can you?
unmuting me.
Yeah, please. So we look forward to your opinion on this.
As far as I know, sir, this descriptive techniques, what we are doing in association rule mining and clustering, we cannot use these models for making predictions. So probably this is one of the reasons why we do not call them predictive models.
Okay. Okay. So it is very, very correctly described by Chayan that in descriptive approaches, we only describe the existing patterns, but we are never in a position to say something about what will happen in the future or what will be the future forecast. And that's what is the limitation of these techniques. And that's why they are brought under the category of descriptive. And second comes the predictive. And we all know how these things are developed because they are only the name of the category, but descriptive generally provide the meaningful insight. So many people say, if you cannot predict anything, then what is the use of it? You see, they are very, very important position of descriptive approach. They provide you meaningful insight of your own data. And there are many algorithms and techniques for descriptive approach, which are broadly in case of association. It has a very fundamental structure, which is called the causal structure. It says that this particular thing will cause another thing to occur. And that's why they create what we call the associations between the various items happening or various items bought. I think most of you must be very well knowing these techniques, so I don't go into detail. And similarly, the second category of descriptive is clustering analysis. Clustering also has the same limitation that doesn't say anything about the future, but it tells you about what is hidden in your own data set by way of grouping the data based on the similarity. So that's the two areas, and then comes the predictive approaches. So predictive approaches, they generally also work on the same way of what we call past history, but they can tell you the future forecast. As you might be already knowing about it, there are many applications of the predictive approaches. It started with the idea of a credit card applicant when you are a marketing professional and you want to add many more customers to your credit card company's umbrella, but do not want a risky customer to be inducted by you. So you try to develop a mechanism or a software which is based on the past applicant's history, whether what was their educational qualification, what was their professional position, and you try to find out what are the factors which decide that this customer will be a fraudulent or risky customer, or it will be a loyal customer who will pay the dues in time. So such a mechanism was the basis of all what we call the predictive mechanism, and that was very successfully done when you apply a new credit card applicant before granting him credit card privileges. You can just check from your own software. It might be from the last set of historical data, which has generated a classification rule, and on basis of that, it can predict you whether this customer will be a good customer or will be a risky, fraudulent customer. So that's what the idea of broadly about the classification or prediction. But there are two ways of prediction. One is classification, generally deals with the discrete data set, and the second one is regression formula. So most of you must have been acquainted with the regression formula, because it's a school level mathematics where we learn how to formulate the relationship between the variables in form of a linear or nonlinear equations and try to generate the meaningful values for a given set of parameters. So these are the two ways to handle it. But when you say about the machine learning, then do you have any change in the predictive and descriptive approach definition? How would you define the predictive approach and descriptive approach if I'm asking you to define it from machine learning? Because don't forget, you are going to, in this DB, go deep towards the machine learning and of course towards the deep learning. So can somebody describe me the predictive approach and descriptive approach in terms of machine learning? So I have many participants now. Can someone of you? I can see their names: Sangeeta, Akansha Sharma, Abhishek. Can any one of you try to explain broadly the predictive approach and descriptive approach in terms of machine learning? Abhishek Appaji, are you hearing me? If not, or maybe if you are hearing me but you cannot speak, then you can write in chat box.
Abhishek, if you want to speak, you can. I have unmuted you.
Abhishek, or anybody else, you can raise hands and then Dr. Ojha will unmute you. You can raise hands. So I don't know whether Abhishek is still with us or not. I don't know. Anybody else? Aditi Arya?
Hello.
Yeah. Please carry on.
Yeah, sir. We were muted. So
Okay,
predictive
Abhishek. So
approach
now
is-
you are. Yeah, please carry on, Abhishek.
Yes, sir. It's more like we have some data and we will try to find out what is the data futuristically. So if we have some data now, using that data, we'll find out what will be the data next. That is regression. Whereas classification is we will try to do, if there are two classes, then we will say based on the previous data, we will classify whether it is this class or that
Okay.
class.
Okay, Abhishek, but my question was slightly different. I was telling you to imagine these approaches and these techniques and define them in terms of machine learning. By what name in the machine learning they are known, the predictive approach and the descriptive ones.
Yeah, I think Shreya is trying to answer. Shreya, are you? I have unmuted you.
Hello. Hello, sir.
Shreya Roy. Yeah, Shreya, please carry on.
Machine learning.
Shreya.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah.
Okay. In case of machine learning, the classification part is done for the predictive for prediction. Actually, whenever we have a data set, we classify them into a test and train data, and afterwards we select the test data so that we can predict that how much the test data works, and so that we can have that we can select that approach to build our model for that so that the it can also be helpful in the real world data set also.
Okay, so Shreya, I am just showing a slide to support your answer.
Okay, thank you.
Can you see the slide?
Yes, I'm seeing.
So can you take help of this slide?
Okay. Yes, as per the slide, it says that during model construction, every time hello.
Yeah, please carry on. So Shreya, we can see in this case that the predictive approach is divided into two steps. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
But I think Shreya we have lost her.
Yes,
No
sir,
problem,
I
no
can
problem.
hear
So we
you.
can carry on. So we can see that there are two-step process
Yes.
for the data classification, also popularly known as supervised learning. So another way to define predictive approach is also call it supervised learning from the machine learning perspective, which involves the first step as model construction and second step is model usage. In the model construction, we also say that we are learning, and that's why the use of the training data set. So given a particular training data set, we try to find out the structure and what is causing the other to happen and what is the basis of a particular situation to predict. So we can see here training data, which is the example we must have seen. It's a very popular example, and most of the textbooks are there using it. It's an example of a university professors in America where a permanent position is given as a tenured position. And this way, you are only writing 4 columns in the training data set to make the life simple for us. And you write here name, rank, years, and the position called tenure. So you know all the past happening, and you try to generate a decision-making point or prediction point from these past happening for the future ones. And for this part, you are generating a model, generating a rule. So here you can see there are Mike, Mary, Bill, Jim, Dave, and N. Some are assistant professors, some are associate professors, some are professor. But the tenureship is something totally different. Tenure means permanent. So you can see here, the Mike is assistant professor with 3 years of experience, but is not tenure. Similarly, another one is assistant professor Mary, but it's 7 year and it is tenure. So in that way, you study all of them, you apply them into classification algorithm, and by the classifier, you generate rule at the end. Can you see the bottom part with a small little green boxes? It generates rule. It says that from the past data, I understand if somebody has a rank of professor or having number of years greater than 6, then the person is likely to be tenure. This is what I generate from the data given to me. So please be very careful. This classification rule is holding true only for this particular data set. You change the data set, the rules also will be changed. So this is the first part, which we call the learning part or the supervised learning part called model construction. And then we come to the next part, and we have already the data for which we know the answer, the prediction, but we want to just test our system. Just test our system. And then apply the 4 different data sets to the model, and out of 4, I can generate the correct answer for the 3 ones except the green Merlisa, who was associate professor with 7 years. And as per our past rules, she must have been tenured as a prediction, but our prediction rule will suggest that she is tenured, but as in the reality, she is not pregnant. So that very clearly highlights that no model is supposed to be 100% accurate when you run it, at least in the first iteration or first round. So the basic idea of the supervised learning or the predictive approach is to find out rules generated from the data and try to find out how accurate these predictions are before applying to the field. So this is in general an idea of classification. I hope it is clear. And there are multiple ways of doing this particular process completed. So you can see the first one, the red color is very popular, but the not so accurate one is decision tree induction. Then we have Bayesian classification, rule-based classification, classification by back propagation, ANN, which also gave birth to the wonderful idea of deep learning, which is also focus of your FDP. So next on, also in the same line, you can see other predictive approaches, and there are also all the predictive approaches can also be termed as supervised learning methods. So they are SVM, associative classification. Then also we have some different category of learners for lazy learners, and then also some methods like fuzzy, rough set, and genetic algorithms. And there are many issues associated, but most importantly, every predictive method has to undergo these particular parameters as a performance measure. So first measure is, of course, the prediction has to be accurate. Second is the speed, how quickly you do the prediction. Then comes the robustness of the classifier in the way that it should be able to handle some missing values and noises and some incorrect recording of data set as an input. But still the classifier should be robust and should not collapse, it should not crash. Then is scalability. If something is working for 10,000 data set successfully, giving you all the results, can the same algorithm, same software run from 10,000 data set to 10 million data set? Can it be scalable to such a level? That's the idea of performance measure. And also the important thing is interpretability. The successful classifier should be able to give the result which can be understood by the community who is trying to use those results. And that's why there are many such parameters associated. But now I'm asking a question and I expect you to answer me. First question. For my retail shop or online shoppers, I wish to simply devise discounting package. Can analytics do it for me? What is the answer?
Anyone can, yeah, you can unmute yourself and answer if you want, anyone.
Yeah, so you have a possibility to unmute yourself now.
If anyone wants to answer, they can unmute themselves and answer.
Yes, sir, it can be.
How it can be, Chandrika? See, not exactly, you cannot exactly by a technique of algorithm or a software, you cannot generate the discounting package. But analytics can tell you the combinations of some items brought together, which can eventually help you devising discounting packages. We should never forget that always exists a small gap between the software results in terms of association, rule mining analytics, and actual the business decisions, business rules. Similarly, I ask another question. How can I understand buying pattern of my customer? Obviously, you can do it through the various approaches which can bring the hidden pattern. Similarly, I wish to prepare my future stock of items, such as that they are neither too much nor it is too less for the customer demand. How can analytics help me? What is the answer to this question? Can anyone answer this?
We can check the purchase pattern. How much customer is purchasing.
How can you do that?
We can relate it with the customer and order placed.
So there are in terms of technology, various approaches in the name of regression analysis, Bayesian classifiers, which can help you predicting something like this in case of your future possibility. But then I can ask you, I am asking different questions and I am answering different techniques. So are there broad category of analytics than whatever we have studied so far? Answer is there are many different questions. If we try to structure them from the business perspective, I can tell you the questions start from what happened, it is corresponding to past, what is happening, it is corresponding to present, why did it happen, also in terms of you are trying to analyze the past, what will happen, this is something about the future, and next one is what do I want to happen. What do I want to happen? What does it mean? What is this fifth question meaning? Can anybody answer? I think Prabha is already being displayed in front of our screen. Prabha Kadam, can you try to answer what is the meaning of this fifth question?
Sir, the last one is prescriptive analysis.
Very true. Very true. But what you are trying to do in the prescriptive? What you are trying to prescribe?
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Recommendation.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do I want to happen is with if I'm going to relate with the customer and the buying pattern, then it's possible for me to purchase a stock for my near future if I come to know which product the customer is buying currently. So I
Correct.
stock according to that. So what do I want to happen is like I can relate it with my purchase, the current orders placed or whatever the past trend of buying behavior of that particular customer, I can map it. I'll buy the product accordingly for my shop.
Right. Very good, Prabha. Thank you so much for helping me explain this wonderful question. What do I want to happen? So I want particular something which is in my mind as a target or as an objective, and I want it to happen for maybe after 3 years, after 5 years. What should I do from now for the next 3 years so that I can control the objective or target in terms of my set values. So this is wonderfully we call the 3 different approaches: descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive. So one thing is common, as you can see in the picture, all the approaches uses the past or historical data to get insight. There's absolutely no doubt about it. I tried to give you more examples, practical example, which I think you're already aware, so you can read it on your own. But one important thing is that not only the descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive, there is one more approach called diagnostic analytics. Diagnostic analysis. And diagnostic analysis corresponds to the third question which I have asked here. Why did it happen? Why did it happen? This corresponds to diagnostic analysis and also called the root cause analysis. Root cause analysis is also one of the very popular approach already available as a part of many software in business analytics domain. But more importantly, the last bullet in this line in the slide is prescriptive analytics would prescribe or recommend the actions or a set of actions that should be taken not only for one prediction but for all possible predictions in the given context. So I can tell you not only one but multiple predictions that I will try to elaborate in the future. So I can explain it further, all the 4 categories. Can you see my slide with the small circles here?
Yes, sir.
So now you can see there the 2 axes are created, which is complexity and one is called value. So when you see from the point of inner core, the starting point was descriptive analytics, and you can see the descriptive part already very well understood, very one of the popular approaches in the business. Next comes the diagnostic. Diagnostic tells you that why something like is happening now. I try to go to the root cause of it. Ability to drill down to the root cause, and also ability to isolate all confounding information. That is called the diagnostic part. The businesses are also very excited in the third category of predictive, which we already very well know about it. Let us try to concentrate on the fourth one called prescriptive. So the prescriptive say that what do I need to do? It's recommended actions and strategies based on the champion or challenger testing strategy outcomes. So prescriptive is a very technical area which we have a technical term called champion strategy or challenger testing strategy outcomes. Of course, I will not go today itself to that deep level because it's the very first talk and very first talk of the whole FDP also. So as the coordinator has already advised that we have to be on the fundamentals or the preliminary level, introductory level, the initial talk. So I would like to confine now to saying that the predictive is something I want to, what I can say, or do I need to do for the next one? And here I want to go for further and try to analyze how they are helpful in terms of how the human inputs are required. And you can see human input is highly required in the first case of descriptive, less required in diagnostic, less and less in predictive, and of course, almost very few, very limited one in the human input requirement in the prescriptive. So you can see the prescriptive part is a feedback loop coming back. Can you see the feedback loop coming back? So prescriptive is only effective when from the past decision, I also learned that what my prediction has suggested me, what happened actually, and what my decision should have been. So this feedback will be very, very helpful. So prescriptive analytics is being referred as the third and the final phase. I don't know why I say the final, because nothing is final before anything comes again. But so far, it is considered to be third and the final phase of business analytics, which also includes the descriptive and predictive approaches. Prescriptive analytics is considered as the next step towards increasing the data analytics maturity and leading to optimized decision making ahead of time. So I will be knowing after 3 years what will happen. After 5 years, what will happen. If I can see the current trend and I can tell you that my company is having heavy expenses in terms of overheads, in terms of transport, in terms of logistics, and if this happens to grow the same pattern, after 3 years my company will be in losses. It will be close to getting in terms of in negative position. So, and I already predicting that after 3 years my company will be in loss. So if you are predicting it will be in loss already, then what is the fun in only predicting and not doing anything So I would like to do something so that this prediction can be used as a very important hint for me to amend my ways, to change my priorities, to change my spendings. And the prescriptive is exactly towards that. So predictive will tell you what will happen, and prescriptive will tell you what is prescribed if you want to not really go in losses, but you want to be at least in profit. Then I will give you possibility, cut down your travel or transport expenses at least by 15% per annum or 25% per annum. Then you possibly may achieve this position. Cut down your staff sizes by 10%, and then you may be in this position. In that way, I am giving multiple options with the multiple cost associated with each option. And then I will give this choice to the user, to the decision maker, to take a call and to use the particular approach. So that's why the predictive analytics, as you can see, the last bullet says that compared to descriptive and predictive analytics, the prescriptive are rather less mature, but attracting increasing research interest. It aims at suggesting or prescribing the best decision options in order to take advantage of the predicted future. So to do this, it incorporates the predictive analytics output and utilizes the optimization algorithm in probabilistic context to provide adaptive, automated, constrained, time-dependent, and optimal decisions. So these are the particularly interesting way to look at it. So can you see the three phases as I showed in the slide, which start from the prediction. So after the prediction, then you take some decision. And then there are also associated effects of those decisions. So prescriptive analytics approach takes into cognizance, take into framework all these three components, So predictions, decisions, and effects. So this is the way you handle the wonderful future area of predictive analytics. So we are already having a collaboration with our German counterpart in Bielefeld University, who are core expertise in optimization algorithm. And I can tell you this is more a decision science problem than the machine learning problem, to be honest. So when you go about it, then you can see that there are 4 different ways, the way you look at the prescriptive analytics. So of course, the time period for prescriptive is future. Objective is in terms of prescriptive is optimizing. So when I'm saying that you cut down your travel costs or transport costs, I'm trying to optimize the system. Simulation, because I can just to display you that if you go on spending like that, I can show you by simulation how your companies will be crashing down or going up, whatever. Of course, actionable information for decision making. So prescriptive analytics is all for that, and there are many different techniques, streamlining. I think Priya has to unmute, mute her mic. Thank you. So there are many techniques already in the research arena, and they are called streamlining, they call it simulation, game theory, and decision analysis. And also there are deliverable in terms of reports, algorithms, and models and code. And of course, there are recommended actions. I have many more descriptive analytics and prescriptive relationship between them, but I don't know how much time I do have. Muniz, how much time I have?
Sir, 1 hour is still 1 hour, sir.
Okay, great. So I can tell you what exactly are the practical example through which we can try to understand the predictive and prescriptive analytics relationships. So you can see there's an example here that although a predictive analysis itself can also lead to a prescription. If you see carefully, I am telling you that if the stock prices are predicted to go up in the next days. So suppose I am making a prediction that in the next few days, these companies' stock prices are going high. Definitely it has inherent, a hidden recommendation that you buy those stocks because you will earn profits because it is there as a prediction, the prices will be high. If you buy in the lower prices, you will earn profits. So in the prediction itself, there is an inherent recommendation, or we can say inherent prescription. So can we then call a predictive approach already as a part of the prescriptive approach? Not at all, not at all. Now the question behind this prediction is an optimization problem. Optimization, but the optimization itself is not the part of predictive analytics. So optimization is the core of the prescriptive analytic approaches, whereas optimization may not be there in the predictive as an essential part. As an essential part. Of course, there are some approaches like reinforcement learning where we use the optimization, but it is not a core component of predictive approach, whereas prescriptive, we cannot imagine. We cannot imagine without the optimization approaches. So I read the third bullet now. The prescriptive analytics, on the other hand, consists of answering questions related to what-if situations for single or multiple predictions with optimality condition as a part of it. So now not only one prediction I can give you for after 3 years, this may happen if you happen to behave like that. And I can give you second prediction. If you reduce your transport or travel cost by this percentage, maybe you happen to in this situation. I think you better can relate this example with a situation when you are playing, when you are observing in one day a tournament, one day match, and there's a target to be achieved, or there's already a batting team in practice, and they have made 30, for example, 30 over, they have made 150 runs. Then there will be prediction of multiple levels. They will say if they score per over 8 runs per over, then maybe they reach up to 240. But if they're confined to 7 runs per over for next 20, they may be reaching only 225. So that way you are actually doing the prescriptive part with different possibility and different possible predictions. So if you behave differently, then you have a different future available for you. There are different realities available for you, and that's why is the beginning point of prescriptive analytics. It answers the question, what if situation. So what if situation says that you have to score per over the run rate of 8 runs per over if you want to achieve this target. So I have fixed a particular objective function, objective target, and then accordingly I have to control the parameters with me. Of course, it's much easier when you are playing a cricket than if you are doing a real life business in the competitive cutthroat competition. So that's a very, very interesting area. But the prescriptive analytics can be told, as you can see, third bullet says 2 sub-bullets. Exploration of possible events. So first important task from the prescriptive analytics will be exploration of possible events. Second will be generation of the prescription. So based on the possible events, for every event outcome, what will be the associated effect you generate the prescription? So you can see the last bullet says that is a decision space for prescriptive analytics tends to be larger, multiple situation with many variables, options, and constraints taken into account. So you can see compared to the predictive one, prescriptive analytics decision space will be much larger. Now I can just try to make a oversimplified comparative position of the known methods for predictive approaches. And in the next slide, correspondingly, I will show you the known methods for prescriptive analytic approaches. So here, I have taken the liberty of grouping the predictive analytic approaches into 3 different parts. One I have told to be probabilistic models. Second is machine learning or data mining approaches. And third is statistical analysis approaches. So almost every predictive analytic approaches I've tried to put under one or the other 3 categories, starting from the Bayesian network, a Markov-Chain Monte Carlo, hidden Markov model, which also is hidden Markov model, also basis of the reinforcement learning in the machine learning context. But there is no very strict categorization, but broadly, by the emphasis they give, these methods have been into orange color. I have used the machine learning approaches, all under the Gaussian and the you can say k-means and the nearest neighbor. Everything I've tried to categorize. Okay. Now let us. It will be interesting to see how the research literature so far also gives a similar categorization for prescriptive analytics. Now you can see I have added more categories for the prescriptive analytics approaches. There are now 6 different approaches. I've tried to use 6 different colors, and there are so many that my font has to be compressed drastically. But I hope it is still readable. So same probabilistic model is continuing here. Now the machine learning and the mathematical programming, there have been some rearrangement of these models. So mathematical programming comes into the play. Evolutionary computation also with the genetic algorithm and greedy algorithms and particle form optimization. Very interesting developments of evolutionary computation also is coming under the umbrella of prescriptive analytics. Similarly, simulations including the risk assessment and stochastic situation and giving the what if scenario simulation, wonderful blend of information technology and business domain. These 2 things are wonderfully blended. That's why it is my favorite academic area in terms of my business informatics specialization also. That's what exactly they are doing in the business informatics, trying to merge the 2 concepts. So, and similarly, I have logic-based models, which are I've renamed the existing ones. So these are some of the very summarized ones from the existing research literature, but there is many practical example. So there is an example of a car seller scenario, which I have tried to describe in case of a business analyst perspective, from business, predictive, and prescriptive. Of course, it is very easily readable. You can read it on your own also. I can only summarize what is presented here. So you have a car seller. He wants to get some insight about his business. So in the descriptive analytics, he just performed the association rule mining and try to understand the number of sales and profit he made in the past 5 years. He tried to define how some interest in terms of high-end cars and low-end cars and the profit he has made, and try to make each of those cohorts. In predictive, he applies a algorithm who tried to give the future forecast. But in prescriptive case, the car seller goes one step further. He wants to increase his total profit by 5%. See? So prescriptive has already decided the outcome. I want to achieve this future. I want this future to happen. And wants to know what he should do now. What he should do now. So businesses are immensely benefited by this possible approach if you bring to them. It may not be 100% accurate. It may not be proving to be effective every time, but it is such a hot area that a lot of investment in terms of research are being placed in the area of prescriptive. And I will come to the next slides in the theoretical foundation and the leading researchers worldwide. But of course, I will be looking forward to your opinion also on this. So here you can see the blue lettered word in the last bullets are. The optimal solution can also be a combination of actions, which I am prescribing here, finding a new supplier, stop selling the low-end cars, and start an advertisement campaign. I will try to find out which of the solution or combination of this is going to form the optimal solution. For example, an advertisement campaign may not have the same impact when the car seller stops selling low-end cars, because low-end cars might attract precisely those buyers that are attracted through the campaign, making the campaign irrelevant when the low-end cars are not available anymore. So you can always have the perfect analysis of what if scenario. But what actually is a theoretical foundation? How can we construct a architectural position or a framework for prescriptive analytics the way we have done it for predictive analytics so far? So let us try to understand. There are three different parts, three different major category of predictive approaches, which has helped us the situation. So what we'll be doing in the prescriptive, we want to have a cookbook steps. First step, frame the problem. Okay. Second, identify the candidate actions. Third, predict the consequences of the actions. Fourth, assess the value of consequences. And then suggest the highest value action. So this is very, very important thing to understand. Highest value action is only possible if you have an optimal decision-making process. And that's why I told you this problem lies in both the domain of machine learning as well as optimization. And as you can see, the analytical methods used will be along with optimization and simulation approach also. So prescriptive says that it's the key task is to create a model. A person must do this. Model must capture the essential feature of the business situation. Larger models often get their data from the business intelligence or prescriptive analytics. But given an appropriate model, we can ask what are all the possible outcomes. This is very, very important. What are all the possible outcomes? And this will lead to simulation and risk analysis step. And then after studying it further with much clarity, you can now ask what is the best outcome we can achieve with the help of optimization. So there are many frameworks proposed by the researchers, but I'm just presenting one of them called open loop prescriptive analytics approach. Can you have a look at the picture I'm presenting here in terms of your machine learning models? So I'm trying to give you a traditional predictive analytics. We seek to model past data Y, which is also called training data sometime in terms of machine learning terms. Using a model M, capital M, you can see I'm doing a field and a small red lettered, red arrow having a Y as a training data set, being fed as an observation to the prediction model or classification model M. And M is a problem of finding out the probability in terms of computing it, the prediction model for the given training data set Y. So whatever you do now, you're there, go to the next step, and the next box, interestingly, is optimization model and the associated cost model. For example, suppose Y captures part failures over time in a population of vehicles in the field. Part failures are usually modeled using a Weibull distribution, using which the expected number of failures in the future, say YE, can be computed. So you can see there's a feedback mechanism and optimization model. Another possible model is adaptive model, where you also give the feedback to the field data or the training data in terms of practice. And this is also one of the approaches used, although when we analyze it further with an appropriate algorithm and technique, before last year rather, we were in Germany with our research group, and we tried to work upon this particular framework. And we obtained that this is not going to yield to a very good result. This rather is a closed loop approach. And we are finding that optimization already being adopted and giving a particular result, and it being fed into the system was not giving us very good result. Still, we are working. It's an open research problem. We are still working on it. So you can see from the foundation of machine learning has largely focused on supervised learning or the prediction of a quantity Y, usually an univariate, as a function of X based on the data where we have defined it, training data as well as testing. There are a large number of predictive techniques. As you can see, we have applied the two wonderful branches of machine learning and operation research, which is a very essential part of management sciences research. Broadly in Europe, we are very, very active researching communities. So you can see this problem was also brought for a very interesting areas. I'm just concluding my discussion by giving you a problem to think about it, a food for your thoughts, not exactly a solution. So I am presenting two different problems which can be formulated as a prescriptive analytics problem. Okay, you can see there are two pictures here. Can you see my two pictures with the decision problem?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now my first picture is exactly from the business domain, portfolio management, which is a very, very important position. All those who are from the business background can understand as one of the core business activity to have a portfolio management. And second one is the application called autonomous driving. We all are aware that for a given travel route, for example, I have to go from one source A to destination B in the city. Then I have these three parameters known to me. Z is the travel route, and Y is particularly that time, how is the traffic, and L is the travel time. L is the travel time. So L is a function. L is a function of Z and Y in this case. And then I try to find out a optimization. I want to prepare a optimization problem to optimize the loss function L of ZY. So L of ZY in the same way is defined in the portfolio management. Z this time is a financial position, Y is a market price, and L is a risk or return. So I want to find out Z star, which will be the best optimal action for the given loss function, which is again having the variate of Z and Y. So this is particularly, I'm trying to formulate a theoretical problem in terms of prescriptive analytics. And this was wonderfully done in terms of trying to make a decision making under the uncertainty Y. Uncertainty is a traffic, which always can change. But I add one more variable, one more variate. It's called weather, or whether it's a holiday or working day in the route, because whether heavily raining will also trouble your driving, autonomous driving, of course. And also whether it's a holiday or not is also going to affect your driving from one point to second point. Similarly, I'm putting all this in the portfolio management problem also. So with that, I'm trying to little bit refine my problem, the decision problem, which is actually now has become the stochastic optimization problem with the covariates I'm using here. The real life is not univariate. We all know the real life world is covariate, definitely. So with that, we can confine a wonderful, beautiful, elegant mathematical problem, providing us ample opportunity to do quality research in the prescriptive analytics domain. And that what exactly was my purpose, to give you the problem. And then with that, I welcome you to the optimization world with the labeled data. Labeled data means you are handling the supervised learning part in terms of machine learning. And now you can see my beautiful problem already formulated. The objective is M star, which is the model distribution, which will represent here the joint distribution between the labels and covariate, since covariate has impact over decision making. So it's necessary to bind them with labels. So I would like to close my discussion here with this elegant problem posing, because that's what professors are known for creating problems, for posing problems, rather than giving solution. And that's what I believe more on the capabilities of all of us, that we'll try to explore this wonderful field as a prescriptive analytics problem, which will be defined so far. So whatever I've defined so far in the past slides is actually the idea of you can see generated as a optimization problem from the group in the MIT Massachusetts Institute of Technology in USA. They have elegantly defined this as a prescriptive analytics problem, and they are the leading researcher working in this area. But coming back to the techno-analytic approach to the business part, there are two basic components: predictor component and prescriptive component. And you have to try to formulate the decision based on the data, not on the mathematical distribution. And that's what is the welcoming you to the possible approaches you can use nearest neighbor, one of the machine learning classification approaches. And any more approach you can want to find, you can always contact me in person, because I do not know about all of you how good do you have a background. You have more than 100 participants, and of course there must be a varied background. But to inform you, all of you, that we are very passionate researcher. Dr. Ojha is also part of our group. We are trying to explore these new areas, and anybody who's interested in terms of joining us are free to do so with this digital world, and we are already interacting remotely. So you are most welcome to join our research group in any capacity you want. You can be as an intern if you are a graduate or postgraduate. You can be a collaborator. You can be co-researcher. You can be a PhD student. We are open to all possibilities, because we have very exciting opportunities in terms of our collaborators from overseas. And of course, we have a lot of literature review done, so we can help you formulating the appropriate problem. So these are my observations, and you can see here the first bullet in my observation says that analytics frontiers are through maturing with various approaches. But one of the issue is, however, how to travel from good prediction to good decision. You know, decision making is still not automated. It's not automated. You can give me prediction, but what should I take as a decision is not automated. It is depending upon the humans to interpret it properly and to take a decision. And that's why the area of prescriptive analytics, especially I have seen as the last bullet suggests, the wonderful researcher in Dimitris group. Dimitris is in Massachusetts, MIT. So they are proposing a very wonderful idea called bootstrap prescriptive analytics, which is working on the optimization problem, hard optimization problems. So you can always have with your hands on more literature. If you're interested, you can write down a mail to me. I have given you mail address. And of course, now I'm closing it down with the permission of the chair to open for the interaction or for the questionnaire if you have it. I will try to answer that. Thank you. Thank you very much for the patient listening. It is very difficult to listen to it and not going to sleep. And I hope at least some of you have not gone into sleep. Thank you.
So now we are open for the question answer, and if any participant has, I see there are a lot of questions. You're free to ask any question from sir. You can unmute yourself and ask the question if you want. Actually, sir, there was one question from Nikita that she is asking how to contact you. I have already emailed you the designation, email ID, and all other details. So you can
Yes.
directly contact sir.
So my email address is there. Other than that,
Thank
I'm
you.
already on Facebook and LinkedIn. You can always connect
Sir
through
is
there.
very active on social networking platforms,
Yes,
like
yes, yes.
academic or Facebook.
Thank
So
you.
you just need to search his name on Google. You will find him very
Yes, sir.
easily.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Any question related to the topic?
Sir's PPT was so wonderfully done that we don't have any question. He explained us so well. Thank you so
Oh,
much,
Nikita,
sir.
so thankful to you.
Great.
And if we could get the PDF copy, it will be helpful for us.
I have already given the copy to Dr. Roja. He can
Thank
distribute
you.
it to you.
Thank
I
you,
have
sir.
I have
Thank you.
emailed to all of
Hello?
you, and it's in the WhatsApp group as well, so you can access that.
Hello, sir.
Yeah,
Hello.
please go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah, yes,
yeah,
sir.
please.
The fifth part on which you focus, now the perspective part. What
Mhm.
what do I need to do? That is a perspective one. Okay. Till the predictive, we have the data with us, the label data. We can
Mhm.
apply, supervise,
Mhm.
and predict the stuff. But if I want to
Mhm.
go ahead with the perspective, what else is required? How can I achieve the perspective? It's like
See,
suggestions, right?
yeah.
So how the system will suggest something? We need some in-between parameters over there for that, or
Yeah, that's why I've tried to give you an overview that actually prescriptive analytics is not confined to the machine learning domain only, but it also goes to a new area called decision science. Decision science is a science of making optimal decision with the help of operation research advances. So the theoretical foundation of the prescriptive analytics is not yet frozen. It's not yet complete. It is still a work in progress. And so far what is emerged is a combination of predictive analytic approaches with optimization problems. If you can go to my slides, I have given you in the way of a framework, and also I have tried to formulate it as a mathematical problem. So you have to understand it's not very straightforward answer to an area which is still not yet fully defined, but it's still work in progress. It is still a research area. So you cannot find out any particular complete tool for prescriptive analytics because the tools are available for predictive analytics only. And if any tools are also available, they are only for the name's sake, because actually the prescriptive, which involved a stochastic optimization, has yet to be developed into a tool. So it's a research area. You don't have complete solution available.
so is there any literature with you regarding that?
Oh
Any
yes,
prescriptive analysis?
I have mentioned them in between my presentation, and also you can contact me individually. I can send you the complete list of references.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Sir, I have a small query.
Please.
First of all, thank you for this wonderful presentation, sir. It was really nice.
Okay, Chen, thank you.
And my question is, actually in machine learning, we have learned or we have studied something called reinforcement learning. So this prescriptive thing, does it have anything relation, or is there any relationship between this reinforcement learning? Because
See,
I
if
kind
you
of
see
found there is some relationship.
yeah, this definitely it comes to your mind when you come from the reinforcement learning background, especially when you use the Markov decision process as a part of giving you the penalty and reward. in terms of reinforcing your learning part of it. But you can see the prescriptive analytics has grown beyond the machine learning domain. As I already told you, it's a more into a hardcore decision science problem, and that is architecturally different from the reinforcement learning. And it not only includes the operational research advances, but also it includes the business domain knowledge to be precisely of any actionable or usable output in terms of prescriptive. So, summarizing your answer to your question, they have similarity in reinforcement learning and prescriptive in saying that both uses machine learning and optimization, but the way they use it, the way they conceive it is totally different. So they are different in that way. Okay?
Thank you.
Is that answer your query?
Yes. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Anyone else? I think there's no more questions, sir. And
Okay.
it was really very nice presentation and very nice introduction to the topic and very beautiful start to the workshop, 5-day workshop that we are going to have. I'm pretty sure that students will not have this difference between the predictive analytics and prescriptive analytics. And actually, this is a very nice term which is recently coined and developed by our research group. So a lot of participants have joined FDPs to get an idea of what research fields are being developed and what people are working in. I think this will be a very nice starting point for very many people, and they will get some motivation to work in this field as well. And as you already presented, we have got so many foreign collaborations, so it will be really useful if somebody connects to us and utilizes these opportunities. A lot of different
Sure.
DST projects are coming up in these areas, so I invite all of you to connect with sir, to connect with us, and take benefit of these emerging fields, because most of the time the new researchers try to attain results very fast. So these are emerging fields, and you could get good results if you work hard in these fields. So with this, I would like to thank you, sir, and thank you so much for your valuable time and the presentation. And since you have already shared and I passed it on to all the participants, they have the PPTs, they will be able to utilize that. And if I get some questions, I will pass them on to you, and probably your answers I will communicate back to the participants. And
Sure.
with that, I thank you and thank all the participants. Our next session will start at 11:45 with Professor Aparajita Oja from IIIT DM Jabalpur. So by that time we can take a break. And
Okay, so I extend my best wishes to all of you for a very successful FDP. And Dr. Oja, please convey my best regards to Professor Aparajita Oja also. She's one of the old known friends and colleagues.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye. So to participants, we can join back at 11:45, and you can take a break, and we'll be back at 11:45. Okay.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, Amit, tell me.
Sir, do we have to join on link?
The same link. This link will be active for 5 days, and the same link you can utilize. I am going to pause the session, so there won't be anybody attending it, but you can join back at 11:45. Okay.
Okay.
There are a lot of people who are asking for the recording of the session. See, I am recording. However, I need to see whether recording will be for whole session or I can do it for individual session, and then I will share it on the Google Drive, and then share the link with you if it is if I'm able to do that successfully. Otherwise, the PPT, as soon as I get, I have already shared one PPT for remaining sessions also. As soon as I get the PPT and presentation, I'll share it with you. Okay. I request all of you to those who have joined the session to connect on the WhatsApp group. I will share the link of attendance on the chat box in every session. The attendance is day wise. Okay, we have to submit the attendance day wise. So even if you fill it once a day, that is sufficient. So it's your own attendance. You just fill the date and submit whether you have attended the session or not. That's it. Okay. So see you back at 11:45. Thank you. Yeah.
Sir, can we have email ID of all the speakers who will be speaking in the session? Email IDs as well.
Okay. Okay. I'll share it in the WhatsApp group.
Hello,
Thanks.
sir. Can you getting my?
Yeah.
Sir, how can I join the WhatsApp group?
I have emailed you the WhatsApp group link. You are Nita Laksheshwar Rao. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you received my email with the link to WhatsApp group? I had emailed that to everyone. I'll send it
Sir,
again.
WhatsApp group link is not there.
No, there are a lot
We
many people
received
who
the
have
mail,
joined.
but it is not having.
I'll send it
Sir,
again
I
to
have
everyone.
received.
I'll send it again. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.